guys! So today I want to talk about something that's kind of been sparked by a lot of conversation that's been going around the internet, specifically BookTube and the book communities recently, and especially a video that Ariel Bissett did that I will link below, where she talked about if reading has become competitive or not, and kind of how it's more about the quantity of books read and like people wanting to read more short stories so they get to their reading goals, and how, you know, stressful that can kind of be. Sam from Thoughts on Tomes also just did a really great video too about how, kind of to counter that, how people need to stop taking booktubers as, you know, the standard of what they need to be doing to be reading. Like, just because someone on BookTube says they had a bad reading month of like, because oh, I only read 5 books, and then you start to feel insecure about it, like, oh, I only read like 2 books this month, have I been having a really bad reading month? Like, no, that might be a really good reading month for you, but not for that other person because they generally read more. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is, reading has become like stressful for me. Not really, but like, last year I had a reading goal of 60 and I met it, I went beyond it, I think. So this year I decided, oh, I'll set it to 65 to give myself a little bit of like a goal to get to, because I knew I could get to 60 because I did it last year, but then just to give myself a little bit more of a push to do some more reading, because I feel like I do a lot of other things when I could be reading more, because I want to read more, and I just choose to do other things like watching videos for like 3 hours straight instead of reading. But what I didn't factor into all of this was that last year I did a ton of reading because while I was in school and I was in university for half the year, like once September started and everything, I only had 1 English class the whole year because even though I am an English major, I had to take a bunch of other courses. Like I had to take a social studies course, so I took a history, and I also had an ancient history course, and I had to take a science course, and then I had a Spanish class just to, you know, fill up an extra credit, and also I wanted to learn Spanish. Anyways, I only had 1 English class, so I didn't have that much reading to do. This year I have 4. That's a lot of reading and a lot of writing, and it's just very overwhelming a lot of the time. So I didn't have a ton of time once like September hit to do a lot of my own personal reading for enjoyment, so I really fell behind on my reading goal. Like I thought I was going to meet it at least, but now I still read a ton of books. I read like 50 something books this year, which is amazing. Like that's a lot of books. But they were mostly in like the first half of the year. And every time I saw that I wasn't really getting close to my reading goal, it's not like it really affected me that much. I kind of knew why I wasn't getting to it, and that's not a big deal because I had school and everything. But I am kind of getting to the point where I'm kind of tired of having to, you know, monitor my reading and just quantify it so much. Like, I used to read for enjoyment and I used to reread books all the time. I don't do that anymore. I feel like I haven't reread books in so long because I feel like I need to keep reading all the new things and keep up with what's, you know, going on so I can stay relevant in discussions and stuff about books. I'm currently rereading Six of Crows because I just didn't have anything new that I wanted to read, and I just really felt like going back to that series because it's one of my favorites. And I'm really enjoying rereading it, and I feel like I need to do this more. So the point of all of this that I'm saying is that I'm not really going to set a reading goal for next year. All I'm going to do is just set my goal to 1 so that I can, you know, keep track of my reading through the year on Goodreads, but I'm not actually like setting a goal for myself to get to. Instead of being like, oh, I only read 50 books when I was supposed to read 65, man, I'm a failure. Instead, I can be like, oh wow, I read 50 books, like that's a ton of books. I'm gonna set different kinds of reading goals for myself. I want to read more, and just, like, spend time choosing to read instead of just reading right before I go to bed, because I usually do that, but like, other than that I don't read much throughout the day anymore, and I want to do that. Like, instead of watching a YouTube video, maybe I can choose to read a book instead. Although with school sometimes I get really tired of reading, I'd rather just watch something passively, which is fine and everything, obviously. Another one I have is to reread more, because I really miss doing that, and that's what the best part of reading is. You can go back to these favorite books that you have and reread them and remember why you liked them and pick up on little things you hadn't noticed before. Like, I've only read the Harry Potter series once. I keep meaning to reread it, but then there's all this new stuff that I feel like I have to read, so I haven't gotten back to it yet. And then thirdly, I want to read more obscure books. Like, not that I don't want to read popular books, because there's plenty of popular books that I want to read, plenty of new books that I want to read. I'm not saying I'm never going to read them again. But I want to read more obscure stuff that doesn't really get talked about on BookTube as much, specifically nonfiction. People don't talk about nonfiction very much. I just watched another Ariel Bissett video that I'll link below. I've been really enjoying her channel lately, where she talks about books that she wants to read that nobody else cares about, really. Or just books that nobody's heard of that she wants to read. And they were all nonfiction, and they all sounded very interesting, and I want to hear more people talking about books like that because I personally want to read more nonfiction, because I don't read a ton of it. When I was younger, I always thought nonfiction meant like fact books and like books about like animals or, you know, just boring stuff, or science books or stuff like that, but like there's a ton of nonfiction that sounds very, very interesting, like biographies, memoirs, just books on certain subjects, books on literature. I love reading books about books, so I really want to get into more of that. I don't know if I really have much else to say. This is probably going to be a really short video. I just wanted to, you know, talk about why I don't want to do a reading goal this year, and kind of how, not that BookTube's been negatively affecting me, but kind of how it's been, my thinking process as far as reading is different now because of it, I guess. And it's not a bad thing entirely. Like, there's plenty of great things, and I'm only really pointing out some of the bad stuff, and that's just kind of me personally. It might not be everybody's experience. It's probably not a lot of people's experience. But yeah, that's just kind of how I felt. I kind of just want to get out of the rut of feeling like I have to keep up with all the new stuff and only read what people are talking about. That I have to, like, have a certain amount of books read to, like, be up with the status quo. So just to prevent myself from thinking that way anymore, I'm gonna not really set a reading goal for myself as far as numbers go. Anyway, thank you guys for watching this, and I hope you are having a great week. Merry Christmas if this goes up before Christmas, and if it doesn't, Happy New Year, or Happy Post-Christmas, or Happy Post-New Year, whatever time it is. I don't know when this is going up. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video, whenever that is. Bye!